Hello, my name is Whitney Nooner, and this is my pioneer presentation on Lev Vygotsky. Lev Vygotsky developed the cognitive development theory. Lev Vygotsky was born November 5th, 1896. I also found an article that said he was born November 12th of 1896, but I'm not sure which is correct, but I found November 5th in more articles, so that's the one I included. Either way, he was born November 1896 in Orshka, which was a city in the western region of the Russian Empire. But about a year after he was born, his family moved to Gomel, which is 400 miles west of Moscow, of what is now Moscow. He was the oldest of 8 children, and he helped his mother raise his younger siblings. His father was a banker, and his mother was a full-time homemaker, but she had studied to be a teacher. Vygotsky had wished to train as a teacher as his mother had done, but government-sponsored schools did not accept Jewish teachers. He enrolled in medicine instead, and he was accepted to Moscow University, even with there being a limited entry ballot, and it was only like 5%, and he made it in. He decided that medicine wasn't for him, and he soon transferred to study law. He graduated from Moscow University in 1917. In 1924, Lev Vygotsky married and moved back to Moscow with his new wife. In the early 1920s, he informally changed his Jewish sounding name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but it's on the screen. And he changed it to Lev Vygotsky. Um, he and his wife had 2 daughters, Asia and Gita. And in 1920, he unfortunately experienced the first of a number of attacks from tuberculosis, and he was worried that he would not survive. So, in worried about his death, he collected all of his literary works together and delivered them to his mentor. And his mentor was then exiled from Russia in 1922. After that, Vygotsky became preoccupied with the theme of death. In 1924, Vygotsky presented a paper that was entitled Methodology of Reflexological and Psychological Research at the Second Psychoneurological Congress in Leningrad. His choice of topic was considered bold, mostly due to his youthful age, but also because of his relative inexperience among the academics who were present. Vygotsky's theories fit within the realm of constructivism. Constructivism is a proposed method of knowledge development based on an individual's active participation in problem solving and critical thinking. Vygotsky's cognitive development theory argues that cognitive abilities are socially guided and constructed, and culture serves as a mediator for the formation and development of specific abilities such as learning, memory, attention, and problem solving. His cognitive development theory is comprised of concepts such as cultural specific tools, language, and thought interdependence, also the zone of proximal development. It is proposed that cultural specific tools play an integral role in the way that children organize and think about the world. Vygotsky also used the stages of childhood development to further explain the relationship between culture and learning. Learning is more than the acquisition of the ability to think. It is the acquisition of many specialized abilities for thinking about a variety of things. That is a quote from Lev Vygotsky. Vygotsky described the zone of proximal development as the distance between the actual development level, as determined by independent problem solving, and the level of potential development, as determined through problem solving under adult guidance or in collaboration with more capable peers. An easier way to say this is that it's the gap between what a child knows and what they do not know yet. The ZPD has become the zone of proximal development, has become synonymous in the literature with the word scaffolding. However, it is important to know that Vygotsky never used this term in his writing. This came later. Scaffolding consists of the activities provided by the educator to support the student through the zone of proximal development. There were several influencers that Vygotsky had. Of course, Piaget, and also Adler, Lewin, Kohler, George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, and Wertheimer. Please excuse me because I'm sure I'm not pronouncing these correctly. Lev Vygotsky died at the age of 37 on June 11th in the year 1934 in Moscow from tuberculosis. His work was banned in the USSR in 1936, just 2 years after he died. However, in 1953, Stalin died, and then that ban was lifted. The ban of his work was lifted. And then it didn't become available in the West until the year 1962 with the publication of Thought and Language. And Thought and Language is the book that Vygotsky he was dictating the final chapter of that when he died. Vygotsky's work is the foundation of what is known in child development psychology as the social development theory. His ideas characterize many of our norms that we have in teaching about how learning and development takes place. Modeling and scaffolding are common today in education. I'm sure everybody's heard of the term scaffolding by now. The implications of Vygotsky's work are to ensure that scaffolding is available to all children, all students. One of the programs that we're probably all aware of is the Accelerated Reading Program. And this is a computerized program that helps children improve their independent reading capacity. And it's actually based on principles from the zone of proximal development. I thought that was very interesting. This is a quote that I found that I thought it was pretty important, and so I included it in my presentation. This is something that Vygotsky himself said. In play, a child is always above his average age, above his daily behavior. In play, it is as though he were a head taller than himself. And these last two pages last two slides are my bibliography, and that concludes my presentation on Lev Vygotsky.